Well, Russ, Farsley probably goes down, possibly alongside Curzon, I suppose, as your most disappointing performance of the season, I would imagine.
Yeah, frustrating afternoon. I'm over it now, but yeah, disappointing, and we've got to react and we've got to move on quickly.
Win, lose or draw, you always analyse performances, no doubt. Can you put your finger on what went wrong?
I just think we never got going, and Farsley come with a game plan. We didn't do the basics well enough, and that's a disappointing thing for me. Injuries or no injuries, if you can't do the basics, then you're always going to suffer, and I think that was what happened on Saturday. I think they had 2 shots on goal. One was from a free kick that we didn't defend very well, and the other was from us losing possession in the middle of the pitch. So when you're not playing well like we were on Saturday, you still have got to find and manage the game to get these points, or to get our points when you're not playing well, because you quickly move on from them and you take it as a positive.
Lots of managers I've spoken to over the years say every now and again, teams get the metaphorical kick up the backside, if you like. And if it proves to be the case that that's it, you're going to run now, I suppose, well, if that's the worst of it, it could have been a lot worse.
Well, listen, that's the plan now. We want a reaction, and the fans expect a reaction, I expect a reaction, and so do the players and from the peers. So looking forward to Saturday. Really tough game against a good outfit, but we're going to give it everything we've got.
Yeah, FA Cup of course, and a Fylde side you played, well, not so long ago really.
Yeah, obviously a lot's changed in that time for both clubs, so we've lost a number of players through injury, and they've got a new manager in charge for the interim, so listen, we know Tails well there, we wish him all the best, but not for Saturday.
Obviously we all know what the Cup meant to Harriers last season. Get through this one, first round proper, it's almost off and running again, isn't it?
Well, listen, that's the plan. You've got to take each game as it comes. We've had 2 tough tests already, but this will be the biggest test on Saturday. I think it means the most to both clubs. First round proper is always the first goal, isn't it? And we're both 1 game away from that.
Normally, having played Fylde recently, you might think, well, you can take something from that, as can they, to be fair. But as you say, there have been so many changes in personnel recently, then can you actually take a lot from that game?
Listen, there's only been 3 games, 2 or 3 games in between our last fixture, so we know relatively a lot about them. And from last year, look, they've got good players, and they're a top team, and they're the favourites to go up this year. So, homework's been done, and we know what we're up against on Saturday.
You've had your fair share of injuries this season. I think we've safely established that. But I gather there could be a bit better news on Joe Folks and Nathaniel Knight Percival than we originally thought. Yeah, good news as in it's not as worse as first feared. But they're still going to be out for the foreseeable. I'm hoping they're both back within 4 weeks from now. That would be a bonus if that's the case, and that's what we've heard off the specialists, and that's what we've got off the scans. So I was expecting the worst with Nat, really. Joe Folks has had trouble with his ankles over the last couple of years, so you never quite know. So yeah, good news, but bad news, if you know what I mean. So listen, we'll move on, we'll drive on, and we'll keep plugging away. Presumably, though, had it been a broken ankle, it could have been 6 to 8 weeks, for example.
Oh, for sure. And listen, if ligaments are involved, it could be a lot longer. So, fortunately, the scans are okay. So we move on, and it's up to the players taking their place to give me food for thought when they return.
How are you doing for defensive cover? Because obviously they're both defenders.
Yeah, we're light at the moment. Listen, we're out looking at the moment, and it's very tough because there's not a lot out there which I see is going to benefit us, and also it's FA Cup weekend, so nothing's going to happen in the immediate. So clubs are very protective of getting players cup tied as well, so I understand that. So we go with what we've got Saturday, and but I expect it to be a hell of a lot better than last Saturday.
Jack Bean, I think, has had a week training now, so is he in the frame? He must be desperate to play.
Yeah, he'll be back around it on Saturday. He's been really sharp this week, and just another frustrating one, really. We added him to the group 6 weeks ago to be part of what was, a team on form. By the way, we're still on form. We just lost 1 bad game, and then to lose him kind of dismantles and upsets the camp a little bit, because then other players aren't getting that reaction that I want, and they're not getting that spike of a challenge, of competitiveness. So he's back in the fold now, and we just hope he can get through the next couple of weeks unscathed, and he'll be kicking on.
But even having him in training must give everyone a lift. I mean, you don't play for Liverpool unless you're halfway decent.
Exactly. And he's sharp, and he's scoring plenty of goals in training. Like I said, he'll be around it Saturday.
I hardly dare ask, but aside from the ones we mentioned, how are you doing for injuries?
Yeah, we're okay. Obviously, Ethan took a bang last Friday in training, and then we thought we'd be okay for the game Saturday. Clearly wasn't, so we had to pull him out 5 minutes before kick-off. He's got to be touch and go for this Saturday, so it's one thing after another really. I feel like I sound like a broken record, but that's where we are. It does affect you. I don't care what anybody says, and but like I said, it's up to the others now to really give me that food for thought and grab the shirt.
Is that a side injury with Eton? Is that what it was?
Yeah, hip injury, yeah.
So aside from that, hopefully you'll be okay going into the Fylde game.
Yeah, don't ask me about anyone else. Yeah.
And just to go back to the point you made, actually, it was only one bad performance. There's no point in sort of throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
No, it wasn't. But I think the manner of the performance has upset a lot of people this week. Me more than anybody else. Listen, I expect a reaction and nothing less on Saturday. Performance is first and foremost. Listen, if we put a good performance in Saturday, it still might not be enough. That's the way the cookie crumbles. But you've got to put in a performance first and foremost and do the basics right. And that's where we were so far behind last Saturday that it was a clear wake-up call to everybody.